What is standing? Standing is the legal requirement that a person bringing a lawsuit be the proper party to ask a court to resolve a dispute. Standing is the gateway to the courthouse. In U.S. federal courts, Article 3 of the Constitution limits judges to deciding actual cases and controversies. Standing operationalizes that limit by demanding three things. 1. A concrete and particularized injury in fact that is actual or imminent, not conjectural. 2. A causal connection. The injury must be fairly traceable to the defendant's conduct. And 3. Redressability. A favorable court decision will likely remedy the injury. If any element is missing, the court lacks power to hear the case. A bit of history helps. Early American courts borrowed from English notions that courts do not give advisory opinions. In 1944, cases like Ashwanda crystallized the case or controversy idea, but the test matured in the 20th century. Lujan versus Defenders of Wildlife, 1992, became the modern touchstone, tightening the demand for a concrete, imminent injury and rejecting speculative, generalized grievances. More recently, Spokeo versus Robbins, 2016, and TransUnion versus Ramirez, 2021, stressed that a bare statutory violation isn't enough. The plaintiff's harm must resemble injuries traditionally recognized at common law. On the other hand, Massachusetts versus EPA, 2007, showed that states suing in their sovereign capacity may receive some leeway, especially in environmental cases where incremental relief matters. Let's unpack the elements. Injury in fact asks, what happened to you? It must affect the plaintiff personally. A taxpayer's frustration with government illegality typically isn't enough. Courts call that a generalized grievance, though a narrow exception exists for Establishment Clause spending challenges. For future injuries, courts require a certainly impending risk, not a remote chain of maybes. See Clapper versus Amnesty International. Causation requires that the defendant, not a third party acting independently, likely caused the harm, and redressability means the court's remedy, damages, injunction, declaratory relief, would meaningfully reduce or fix the injury. Purely symbolic wins don't count. There are important variations. Associational standing lets an organization sue on behalf of its members if a. the members would have standing, b. the interests are germane to the group's purpose, and c. neither the claim nor relief requires individual participation. Hunt versus Washington Apple. Third-party standing, usually disfavored, sometimes allows a litigant to assert the rights of others when there's a close relationship and a hindrance to the rights holder suing. Common in doctor-patient abortion cases. Tester standing recognizes that individuals who intentionally investigate discrimination can be injured when denied truthful information or equal treatment. Havens Realty. Statutes also matter. Congress can create legal interests and authorize suits, but it cannot erase Article 3's requirements. After Lexmark v. Static Control, 2014, questions about whether a plaintiff falls within a statute's zone of interests are treated as merits issues. Does the cause of action cover this plaintiff and harm, not as prudential standing? Still, even with a statutory right, the plaintiff must show concrete harm or a close historical analog. A few quick examples. 1. An environmental group whose members hike a specific river can challenge unlawful pollution permits because their aesthetic and recreational use is diminished. Concrete, personal, and redressable. 2. A consumer sues over a mislabeled product she bought and overpaid for. Economic injury suffices. 3. A data breach plaintiff alleging only a speculative risk of identity theft may fail on injury in fact. If she suffered fraudulent charges or spent money on protective services due to a substantial risk, she's on stronger ground. 4. A citizen upset about foreign policy has no standing. The harm is too generalized and not traceable to a judicially remediable action. 2 practical curiosities. First, standing is measured at filing and must persist. If the injury disappears and no meaningful relief remains, the case becomes moot. However, nominal damages can preserve a live controversy for completed past injuries. Uzuegbunam versus Prechevsky. Second, remedies shape redressability. Even small steps, like requiring an agency to reconsider with proper procedures, can suffice if they could plausibly change outcomes. Bottom line, standing keeps federal courts in their constitutional lane, ensuring they resolve concrete disputes brought by the right parties, at the right time, and capable of meaningful judicial relief. Above, you'll find more videos to keep learning law. Remember to leave us a like and subscribe.